Let me tell you, I have a delicious surprise for you today. Our guest today is going to be a very amazing, balanced, centered individual that is overall, she's not only an inspiration, but she's very educated and very open in the industry. So, one of the reasons I started following her is actually because of the educational aspect. So she's super supportive about other sex workers. She's super giving. She throws out all these resources, all these tools because she wants everybody to be educated all around. So her mission, kind of, with her direction, is to give back to the community and help others be more educated, more aware. And that's what the channel is about, right? Our channel is about the education, the awareness, and the acceptance of the adult industry as a whole. Well, this amazing individual is full of that. She's full of just freely giving to people these open resources, and to me, it seems like she is extremely fitting to be a guest on the podcast. So, once again, thank you for supporting the podcast overall. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to help the evolution, the growth overall of the channel, because without you, we couldn't do that, obviously. Um, I hope you take something from the interview today. I hope you learned something because that's what we're here for. I'm going to go ahead and let you meet Mistress Gia. You can find her on Twitter and many other platforms. Her Twitter is at AQUILAGIA. And Mistress Gia is amazing. She's amazing. So go ahead, get you a notebook and a pencil because you're getting ready to have to write down a bunch of notes, especially if you are interested in becoming a dominatrix, because this is a lady that you do want to learn from. Overall, I hope you enjoy the interview. I hope you enjoy the channel overall. And let's get started. Awesome. So we have an amazing guest today for Forbidden Depths. I've been following her for quite some time, and let me tell you, she definitely left an impression on me. So I know she's going to on you too. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself because nobody can do it better than her.
You're so sweet. Hi, my name is Mistress Gia. I've been a dominatrix for 4 years. I'm actually coming up on my 5-year anniversary in January, so that's super exciting. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so amazing. So amazing. Like I said, she does have a Twitter page and has all other platforms too. So if you hear anything that just makes you want to swarm to her, make sure you do, because there's literally a platform for everything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with, what is your profession?
So I'm a professional dominatrix. I'm a professional kink provider. Professional and consensual, let me say, because a lot of people get that a little confused. Everything is consensual.
Yes.
I provide and fulfill fantasies that not a lot of people are open or intrigued in doing. Now, I don't offer full service, so no escorting or anything like that. There's no nudity from me. If there is, you're extremely lucky.
Right.
What else? Oh, hi, my dog is she's making an appearance. um, so yeah, I provide fantasies that not a lot of people are open to. So these are things like kicking somebody in the balls or injecting them with the needles of some kind. Yes, people ask for this.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
There's something called smothering that I do a lot. That's where you sit on somebody's face until they're unable to breathe. And you, of course, it's consensual and you practice tap outs.
Yes,
For legal reasons, let me just.
Of course. And there's always that time before where you discuss. There's disclosure, and then, of course, aftercare and stuff that goes along with that. And Gia is huge on that stuff. Okay, I followed her for a long time. I know she's huge on that stuff. So a lot of your work I've seen is the ball busting and the smothering, which ultimately I love. So what are your favorite kinks? Like, what do you just get so excited to work with?
My absolute all-time favorite kink is cock and ball torture. I love it. It's not for everybody.
Right.
But myself, I'm extremely sadistic. I enjoy seeing my submissive in pain.
Mhm.
It gets
Right,
to me.
right.
It's part of my sense of humor. It makes you uncomfortable. It's showing me that you're willing to sacrifice almost anything for me, right? I mean, you're willing to let
Yes.
me step on your balls. Yeah, let's do it.
Right, right.
So that's definitely my favorite. And anything going alongside with physical sadism is nice. Emotional
Mhm.
and, psyche is fun too. But physical sadism is my favorite.
Okay, okay. So you're more of the let me see how much you are willing to give to me on all
Hmm.
levels, especially in your personal self. I love it.
Right.
I love it. I
Right.
feel like a lot of pro doms and even I mean amateur doms, they have a sense for loving that, loving the power exchange. I know I do. I love the power exchange. Someone so willing, so open. But of course, we take, care of our submissives too. It's not one of those things that we're forcing people to do this. It's more or less they ask if we offer a service, growth develops in the relationship, and then we become a provider for whatever their desire is, and that happens to be pleasing us,
Right. Right.
which
Exactly.
I'm not going to argue with someone that just wants to do things to please me. We both need
Right.
more of that in
Okay.
our life.
Right. I'm like, we can get used to this.
Right, right. Okay, so whenever you got your start in the industry, did you have like a mentor? Did you have like a partner? Did you have somebody kind of helping you along the way? Or was it something that you dove in and you did all this research yourself? And was it easy to get into?
So, okay, I'm gonna give you a little
Okay.
backstory. So I started dancing. I was stripping in 2018.
Mhm.
And the night that I went into the club, there was this woman that came in and she had two submissives on leashes.
Mhm.
Like she was just walked in and she had these men on a leash and collar.
Right.
And I was up on stage and I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh, I don't know what you're doing, but I want that. That's
Right.
it. That's where I want to be. So the night went on and I talked to her and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I need it.
Mhm.
Teach me. Like, teach
Okay.
me. What is it? Like, I'm so curious. And she told me very calmly, and this, I don't get intimidated easy by many people, but she was so calm, lowers her voice an octave, looks me dead in my soul, and she's like, yeah, I control these men. I control
Mhm.
everything that they do, their finances, their decisions. I took on the responsibility of creating them into my own image, basically. And I was like, oh, girl, I need that. I
Right.
need it. What can we do? How do we start? Whatever. So we quickly developed a relationship where she became my mentor and she taught me almost everything that I know.
Mhm.
So we were in a mentorship for about a year and a half. And then I went off on my own and I started practicing real time on my own.
Okay.
So I helped her and was basically doing kind of like grunt work. She was Mr. Miyagi teaching me.
Right. Okay.
She had me learning to clean tools. She was teaching me safety precautions, teaching me negotiations and etc. I would assist her in some scenes. And when I was good to go, she said, okay, go
Right.
on. She's
Very
like,
nice.
here's one of my subs and you can practice with him. So that was where I got my first submissive and how I started to learn. And ever since then, just a lot of networking, lots of connections, continued taking classes and learning
Right.
from as many people as I could.
Yes, I noticed that you are huge whenever it comes to touring to any of the in real life events, the classes, which I got to be a part of myself. You actually feature lives and allow people just to come to listen and learn. And that was why I was like, I have to have her. Whenever I get everything up and running, I have to have her. Because,
Aw.
because it's like, it's one of those things that you took the moment that, I mean, it takes a lot to take time away from everything else, but for you just to be like, this is what I want to give to anyone practicing to make sure they're safe, to make sure they know about consent, to make sure they know about protocol. And I just want to give it to anybody and everybody that follows me. Just like, as long as they know I exist and they can flock to me whenever I have these free sessions. And it was very, very informational, might I add. I took a lot of information from it, and I always love different aspects because we don't all have the same perception when it comes to those kind of things. We might look at something one way and then someone else look at it another way, but you're not going to know that unless you're actually listening and engaging with these people. So it was like a safe environment for learning, and I am all for that. I love it. So I
Well,
want to say
thank you.
you're welcome. I really wanted to say thank you. I don't remember if I thanked you for that, but I want to go ahead and do it now. So thank you for making that available to anyone and everyone, because some people kind of like to gatekeep, and it
They
makes it
do.
hard for people that want to come into the industry, people that want to be, I mean, more than just, a pro dom. If you want to be a lifestyle dom, it makes it hard if you want to learn things, because there are people out there that are like, no, you don't get to know this information. Why not? That's how you create a
They
safe
do.
environment.
Crazy. Yeah, they do. Well, thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you took something away from that and you were able to feel comfort within our community and being able to just be educated and stuff. There's a huge portion of gratitude that I owe to the Hate Code that has also been chipping in and sharing notes and also taking classes and being open to sharing that with people. That was like my biggest thing when I got into real time and started working. I guess not in real time, but when I started taking domination into online, I
Right.
was like, why are we hitting subs with cars? Why
Oh my
are we
goodness.
don't know about rack?
I saw that too. I
Yeah,
was
and it was just
like,
crazy.
there's been
It was,
two
yeah.
times that I've noticed that since I've been working, and it's always this young dom that is basically used by this, I don't even know what to call these people, some man that has this like crazy fantasy, and like that's extremely dangerous.
It's so dangerous. And people, I've seen a lot that people now don't know what rack or SSC is, which is really concerning because I haven't always been online.
Right.
I started to get back online in 2021, so the beginning of last year. And it was just concerning. And I was seeing a lot of opinions about things and like, I guess like hot takes on a lot of things that were dangerous, more or
Mm-hmm.
less, to other people. So I was like, you know what? If nobody knows how to find these resources, let me be a resource for other people because we cannot continue to make the BDSM community watered down by the uneducated and unpractical. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that was my biggest motivation for doing it. And then the more I was doing it, the more people wanted to join in. Like, what are you doing? Where's the classes? Like,
Right.
what are the notes? What did you learn? You know, because yeah, a lot of
Right.
people do like to gatekeep. They like to
Mm-hmm.
gatekeep and profit off of baby sex workers. And I don't think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to do something and decide to take the responsibility of someone else's life, literally, you need to know what you're doing, you know?
Yes.
So
100%.
all the free resources and access to things that I have, I want other people to also do that because we need to thrive and be there for one another, you know?
Yes. And I love to see support within the community, because there's so many people that already try to tear you down that aren't in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you make it even harder for someone? Like, I understand certain, like whenever you get to a certain level and you've tried to help so many people and they've kind of treated it as like a get rich quick scheme. I've noticed there's so many people trying to do that. Like, oh, what website do I go to sell these feet pics for $5,000? No.
Oh yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I understand not wanting to take on everyone for mentorship, but at the same time, there are a few people out there that genuinely want to learn for the love of it, not let me go sell these foot pictures and, make bank. But after you have so many people contact you, it is kind of hard to know, because I know I've tried to put several people in long-term mentorship programs and they expect me to do all the work for them. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
If
we
if
can't
you
do
want
that, babe.
in, yeah, like, I already have a full-time job. I already got, I have a life. I have all these other, like, I don't have time to do my work and your work. It's a commitment. And I feel like everybody thinks it's like one of these things that you can just do whenever you want, and there's just all kinds of money in it and whatever. There is all kinds of money in it, but you got to work for it.
Right. It's so the longer that I've been in sex work, the more that I understand that people use sex work as a placeholder for other things, for other income or what they have going on next. I saw that a lot more when I was in the club,
Right.
but now that I'm back on sex work and TikTok is a big thing and blah, 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 the way that people are phrasing it is as a get rich quick scheme, which then becomes the placeholder, right? Not a lot of people want to be professional sex workers. That's okay. That's fine. You want to, like, it's okay to use it as a placeholder when you're doing like the OnlyFans and etc. I just think, in my personal opinion, if you're going to be a dominant, you need to at least be educated. This is actually serious, and you're holding a responsibility literally over somebody else, So it's more than just the get rich quick. So that can definitely be frustrating to see.
Oh, yes. And one of my biggest things is whenever it comes to people like being in subspace, whenever they come to you for something that you offer, whether it be a product or just a text session, whatever. Whenever they're in subspace, they don't always think clearly. So you're literally taking these people on, and they're essentially an addict in that moment. So they're feeling all these crazy rush of emotions and all this desire. And sometimes they're going to say something that presses their limits, and they don't realize that it does. Well, if you're not educated and you don't know what to look for and you don't know how to take care of someone, you could really injure someone. You could have them injure themselves. And to me, that's huge. Like, you should have that information. You should make sure you're not pushing boundaries. Make sure you're taking care of these subs. Because if you give someone a negative experience, it makes them completely turn away from it, turn away from desire, turn away from the community as a whole. And then they could practice and it not be so safe,
Right. Right. And then the sexual repression as well can really lead to shame, and it can sometimes, I've seen it turn out into outbursts in other situations.
Yes.
So it's important.
It's one of those things that it literally can impact all parts of your life, which can be a scary thing.
It definitely can. On that note too, that's kind of why negotiations are so important, because subspace is I took a class, and the instructor, and he basically said that subspace is almost like a drunken space, right? It's almost
like you're impaired.
I don't like almost like an intoxication, right? Yes. Because what I'm okay with when I'm drunk sometimes is not what I'm okay with when I'm sober, right? So that's why the negotiations and the boundaries are so important, because if we're in the middle of a scene and you say that you want me to do something you previously said you didn't want to do, it's going to be irresponsible for me to do that, right?
Yes, 100%.
So, yeah.
Yes. And that's also why I suggest communicate, and then over communicate. Because that's extremely important to know their boundaries, your boundaries, and kind of make this collective effort. This is what's going to happen during the session, and our end goal is this, and we're going to avoid this. Because if you don't communicate, how does someone know? And if you're not honest when communicating,
right, then how am I supposed to protect you? Yeah. How am I supposed to make sure that we're doing this ethically and that we're going to be okay? How am I supposed to provide you with proper aftercare, if you cannot be honest and open with me, right? Yes. Because I don't want you to go home feeling completely ashamed of yourself, kind of thing, because people do crazy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they do. And sometimes, like we were talking about, people in subspace, sometimes you don't even really notice you're doing it until after the fact. It's like one of those buyer's remorse kind of situations. So it's like they don't realize until after, and then they're like, oh shit, what just happened? And that can be damaging. So communicate, and over communicate. That's where I am with it. Okay, so
Right.
we already talked about kind of how you got started as a sex worker. You had the amazing introduction in the club, which was really, really cool. Whenever you started your mentorship, did you feel there were any strengths that you kind of needed in order to be successful?
Definitely my confidence and the way that I was presenting myself. There was a lot of tools that she taught me in my everyday life to help me build that confidence and my presentation of who I am, right?
Right.
Because Mistress Gia is someone different than who I am in vanilla life.
Right.
Although the two collide in who I am genuinely as Gia is still who I am. It's not two complete polar opposites where we're playing, like Mask.
Right.
But when you're in dom space, you have to continue to present yourself and be this person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, for example, she taught me that, of course, when you shake somebody's hand, you need a firm handshake. Yeah, well, when you're Mistress Gia, you're shaking everybody's fucking hand like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It does not matter if it's another dom. It doesn't matter if it's somebody holding the door open for you, you're submissive, whoever. Strong handshakes, maintaining eye contact, keeping your voice at a certain octave and not really raising it higher or lower too much. You don't want to be monotone, but you want to stay in your dominant space. Mm-hmm. Now, if I fuck up and I start, oh my God, then bitch, am I really dominant? And
right.
am I really coming off as dominant?
Right.
My son's like, who the fuck is this? Polly Pocket, like, come on. Mm-hmm. So, kind of just small things like that. Definitely my confidence level in doing those things. And then as I was learning kink, practicing and being confident in that, so those along with the presentation, always keep your shoulders rolled back, and relaxed. You're sitting up straight, your posture, etc. So I would definitely say those were the two main things that I needed to work on. And now it's almost just like second nature.
Yes. Good. I'm glad. So what's really, really cool is that you kind of had that person to bounce things off of and had that guidance. So for people that really don't have that, what would you recommend? Like, how would you recommend them being introduced to the community without a mentor?
Okay, so this is probably one of my biggest pieces of advice. So not only are you needing to stay educated, but you need to network inside of your own local community, whether that's online or in real life. Sometimes the kink community can be fairly cliquey. All right. It's okay. Don't let it discourage you. Because you can, it's like high school. You can either give into the clique or you can just go talk to everybody. Right. You can just be somebody that everybody likes, everybody fucks with. You want to go talk to everyone. You don't have to feed into that. Right. So just don't be discouraged by it. These people are going to be people that you're going to want to lean on. So definitely developing relationships. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be hands-on either. Like, oh, I've never seen wax play. Can you show me? So how do I know if the wax is too hot? How high do I hold it off the skin? Etc. So definitely asking questions and get involved. Get involved somewhere. You need community to be able to make it and to thrive in this business, in this industry.
Yes.
So yeah.
Great advice.
That's what I would say. If you don't have a mentor, at least use your community to mentor yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Also, I've seen community is quite small in some areas, especially like I've talked about this previously. Some of the southern part of the United States is still like super behind on the times with acceptance of you being you. So one of those situations, I want to go back to something you said previously, an online community. There are plenty of spaces where you can be yourself authentically. So whenever you go online, you literally just find some community that works for you. It doesn't have to be in person. Maybe you're not ready to come out. You can go online and be whoever the fuck you want to be. You can literally just go explore yourself. And so if you don't have an in-person situation where you can do that, just openly express yourself, make sure you turn to the internet, because you can find everything on the internet, like everything.
You can find everything on the internet, and it's like the classes that I share. So I share weekly classes. I put out class schedules, not ones that I lead, but what I find. It's like I was saying earlier, it's the resources that I use for myself and classes that I continue to take is what I'm sharing with people and like showing you guys where to go. In that same aspect, if you just go on FetLife, you can look up events and go under virtual, and you will find like femdom meeting discussion. You can find like an exhibitionist room where everybody's jacking off together. If that's what you want to do, you can go do it. They got Zoom meetings for that and everything. You can sit in on a munch discussions. I mean, you can sit on the classes. You can have everything. Sometimes people even just create events so that they can be productive together.
Yes.
And there's people out there. There's community out there. There is something you just have to find it.
Right. Yes. Also, sometimes in the beginning, whenever you're finding these communities, not all of them are going to be safe. So make sure you pay attention to gut feelings. Make sure you pay attention to, do I feel like this is safe for me? And if it's ever one of those things that you don't feel safe, don't stay there, because it will ruin how you feel about desire. Like, don't stay there. Go somewhere else. There's plenty of resources like we were just talking about. So the next question that I have for you is, how is it different than a regular job?
Okay. The major, aside from the obvious, I would say the major difference is that instead of working 9 to 5, I'm now working 24/7, literally, with the exception of having to sleep. I wake up first thing in the morning and I'm checking my emails before I'm even out of bed and responding to emails. I do travel a lot, so checking flights, checking updates, blah, 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 like booking sessions, etc. And then the day proceeds, even when, if I am alone, I am on my phone or I am on my laptop and I am working. So I guess just the constant need to work, and almost it becomes kind of an addiction, right? Because you know how it goes in sex work, when if you don't catch somebody right when they message you or right when it's going down, right when they're horny, you're missing out on money.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So that thought process becomes very intoxicating to your daily schedule. So I would say that's my biggest thing, on top of specifically in the online sex work community. I've found that people, of course, you're running your business, but people are more out for themselves than they are for each other. So when you're working and you have your 9 to 5, everybody's, of course, working for themselves, but you're working together towards the same goal, essentially, right? Under the same company, but now it's a little bit more cutthroat, because this is multiple different companies working towards multiple different things. And it gets a little gruesome sometimes.
Yeah, it's like competition.
It's like, it is unfortunate.
One company competing with another company. Now, I have seen some people that are super giving, like yourself, and you're like, there's enough to go around. And if the sub or the client is truly yours and likes your work, they're going to keep coming back anyway. Like, you don't have to put your foot in someone else's face, and, well, the people that don't like it, you don't have to do that and be like, oh, well, this person's taking my money. Like, no, because if you put out something that this person likes, they're going to keep coming back regardless. That's where you develop your loyalty.
It's also, not every dom is for every sub, and not every sub is for every dom. I have had submissives come to me where I'm like, you know what? I don't even know how to practice what you're asking me for. How about you go see my friend? Go see my girl Monarch Blix, who does hypno, because I don't know how to do that. And it's okay. I don't have to. It's more responsible for somebody to sit there and say that they don't know what they're doing, instead of trying to do it and harming somebody. So I wish that was a bit more acceptable, and a more acceptable response for people to kind of like pass people around. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Here, take this one. Kind of deal. And there is enough for everyone to eat, because at the end of the day, you yourself are somebody's fantasy. You
Yes.
just being you, you're somebody's fantasy. You are what someone wants, and what you have, I don't have. What I have, you don't have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's something for everybody. There's no need for scarcity. There's enough for
Yes.
everybody to eat.
That is so beautiful. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about potential dangers. So, throughout your experience, whether it be when you started or throughout the feeling of your career, have you ever had a dangerous situation in which you felt your health was at risk, whether it be mentally or something physically? Have you ever felt that?
So let me knock on wood. Let me hold on. Luckily, I have not had any kind of physical um, danger with myself. I've been very fortunate to have, in my professional career, to have always had a backup plan, or always have
Right.
backup, or always have security on me. And I'm very
Mhm.
blessed for that, because I understand not everyone has the opportunity to have that.
Right.
Um, but mentally, in a kind of like an umbrella answer, mentally, it's exhausting to be a full time sex worker. You don't have time to have breakdowns. You don't have time to sit and lay in bed for weeks on end to babysit your depression. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You can't do
100%.
that. You have to keep going, because if you stop, the money stops. If you stop, nobody's there to maintain your business and to keep up with the things that you do.
Yes.
So I would say, in terms of like danger, it's more or less that. So I try to babysit my mental health as much as I can now, to
Mhm.
avoid future burnouts, and in times where I physically like just cannot work and I cannot
Yeah.
bring myself to do it.
Right. Which is awesome that you found that balance, because I'm going to tell you that is a forever struggle that most people have not mastered.
It is definitely a struggle, especially with traveling and such. Whenever I come back from vacation, it's always really hard. You'll kind of probably now start to notice that I have a little pattern. When I go on vacation, I come back and I don't do anything for a week.
Right?
Like, I cannot. I can't. It's so much to travel. It's so much to travel and work. So that's a little part of my routine. I have to take
Mm-hmm.
time off.
And I mean, ultimately, you need that to be able to get back where you need to be. You have to have that time to catch up on
You
everything.
do. Mm-hmm.
Because whenever you're away for one day, it's exhausting to look at all your messages, look at all your emails. I mean, imagine being gone a week. It's like you have this
Yeah.
forever, like not ending line of people in all directions that need attention, that need replies, that need information, that need to check on you. Like, it's crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
nuts.
You
And
should see
let
our
me
DMs, okay? You should see them. I am telling you.
fucking crazy. But let me provide a little bit of reassurance that it is okay to take a day off. You need to take a day off. You need to go outside. You need to
Mm-hmm.
go do something that you enjoy that has nothing to do with cake, because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out so fast
Mm-hmm.
and you're just going to regret it. And the likelihood of coming back after burnout is very, very slim. So take care of
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. Well, that's like we were talking about mental health. Mental health is huge in sex work, like huge. Because I mean, there's going to be days where you're like, yeah, I kind of want to do this, but do I really want to do this? And in those days, if you don't give to yourself, if you're not good to yourself, it's going to make you be like, well, do I really like this anymore? Am I really happy?
Yeah, it will. And that happens all the time. Even for me, like, so years deep into this, it still happens where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, I step on balls for a living. Am I going to be 50 doing this? Really? Like, do I want
Yes.
this?
Yes.
And I know. And of course, there comes the of course answer where I'm like, yes, like, of course I want this. But
Right.
it's always going to continue to be a lingering thought throughout a
Mhm.
burnout. Like, do I even want this anymore?
Right.
So it's a normal thought. It happens.
Yes, yes. And I think it's one of those things where it's like your subconscious kind of bleeding over, being like, the expectations for society. Like, am I supposed to do this at this age? Or is this really acceptable
Mhm.
anymore? And it's just like those societal norms just kind of like bleeding over. Like, insecurities that are in the back of your mind that you don't ever think about, but they're are still kind of there because you know how it is in the United States. Like
Mhm.
the majority
Mhm.
of the country is like men rule everything. They're supposed to control everything. They're supposed to be the head of the household. All this kind of nonsense that we are taught growing up.
Yep.
So we both know that that's not accurate, but still there's parts of your brain that still hear that from childhood, you know? So it's like your subconscious kind of bleeds over and makes you question yourself at times. And then you snap out of it and you're like, nah, I'm a bad bitch. I can fucking do this. Like, this is what I'm meant to do because not only do I love it, but I thrive.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
So,
It's definitely the societal norms that get to you too, because it's like,
yes.
how am I supposed to go meet new vanilla people, sit down at this dinner party, and then explain to you that I'm a professional dominatrix?
Yeah.
Because now the dinner party is about me. Because now you guys want to ask me all kinds of questions. So
Yes.
I'm not even, I'm not even gonna front. Sometimes I be lying to random people. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm a stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
Or whatever, just because it can be so much to get into. I'm a professional dominatrix. Like,
Hmm. And then it's like, you can't just have a conversation or an escape from work. Like, then it becomes about work. And then you're like, well, damn, I can't have a
right,
vanilla life and be normal because I'm not normal. So it's like, that's all they want to talk
right.
about. Like, what do you do? What are they, how do these people feel? How much do you get paid? And then it's just like, man, I'm working again. I thought I was trying to
like,
escape this.
why? They're like,
Yes.
why would someone want to get their balls stepped on? I'm like,
Yeah.
how's the turkey?
Yeah, right? Or
How's dinner?
I've heard
Are we
people
enjoying
like to
food?
get peed on. Is that a real thing? Like, yeah,
Right. They're like,
that,
oh, it's like the show Bonding. I'm like,
yeah.
actually, yeah, it is.
So I don't even have to ask you if you enjoy your work because clearly we see how you glow from your work.
Mm.
um,
Yes, I do genuinely love what I do. Okay, a little story. I went to school for massage therapy,
oh, I
and I
did
was
not
a
know
licensed
this.
massage therapist for years. Yes, I was a licensed massage therapist for a couple years. I never renewed my license because I went to the club.
Hmm.
And that just it took my heart away. The money was
Right.
super fast and I was just got addicted so quick. But yes, I have my bachelor's in anatomy and physiology. And my idea with wanting to do massage therapy was that I could help somebody by putting my hands on them.
Mhm.
And that was just something that was so amazing to me because that's what I've always wanted to do. I always just want to help somebody, like
Right.
something to improve your life. I want to do that, you know?
Yes.
And it's so funny because now I'm essentially doing the same
Hmm.
thing where I'm helping somebody with my hands or with my words
Just a roundabout way.
in like a completely unexpected back alleyway.
Hmm. But
um
a beautiful way.
so yeah, so that that's really it's really helped me kind of like accept what I do in sex work as well, because the denial and the regret definitely comes while you go through your journey of being a sex worker.
Right.
So kind of just like keeping in mind like I'm still helping people, which I am, believe it or not. Sometimes kicking people in the balls helps them.
Yes.
Sometimes they need that little ego drop. um
Yes.
but yeah, it's helped me, it's helped a lot.
My biggest thing whenever I look at potential subs and potential situations is this therapy going to be beneficial for this individual? And if it's a yes and there's compatibility, why not? Because I'm all about helping people just like you, but in a sense of, I guess, my brain always goes back to why does this person have the desires that they have? And then that's the psychologist in me. So why do they have the desire that they have? And how can we accommodate to make it better for them, to make their life
Hmm.
better, to make their person better, just overall to be a positive experience that helps them grow as an individual? So I'm a therapist. You're a therapist. It shows that we literally got into the line of work we got into for sex work to help people heal. Like, we're healers.
And it's crazy because I know anybody vanilla who listens to this, they're like, how the fuck are you helping people? But a little psychology breakdown is a lot of people who are into corporal punishment or even submission as a male figure are typically higher ups in companies like CEOs, vice presidents, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking to relinquish control. They need something to just let go because they're there all day making decisions, big decisions for their company or for their people. They have to let people go, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And all they want is for somebody else to tell them what to do in a controlled environment. So
yes,
it can be that. Even, like corporal punishment is where I was going. Sometimes people use corporal punishment as a form of actual punishment for something that they regret doing, they wish they did differently, something they feel they need to be punished for. Sometimes it's just like a release of emotions or, whatever. So yes, it helps people.
100%, 100%. And if you talk to someone that knows anything about the brain, they can tell you that it is necessary for the healing process to have small doses of exposure and learn how to separate emotion and logic so you can work through things productively. But only people like us that are active in the community kind of know that. I just think it's a super beautiful thing that we both started on this journey to help people, and we both ended up being dominatrixes. Like, I love it. So
you would be so surprised how, I'm so sorry.
no,
I
go
don't
ahead.
mean to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
Tell
just
me.
gonna
I need
say,
it all.
I was gonna say you would be so surprised how many people got into sex work after wanting to help somebody. I know one of my dearest friends, she started by being an esthetician and she wanted to help heal people's skin and stuff. And it's really cool because she kind of implements that into her practice and she works a lot with sissies and stuff. So it's cool because you see this pattern so many times through so many practitioners, and it's there's got to be some kind of something.
Yes.
I need someone to do a study to figure out what it is.
I feel like part of it all derives from we wanted help at some point in our life and we never got the help that we needed. So we want to be that for other people, for the masses, for the people that are compatible with the way we give. So ideally we're giving what we want to receive. We want to receive that kindness. We want to receive the over communication. We want people to be open about their desires and giving. And, you don't always get that, especially if you have like some kind of situation where it's not available, like in really religious households. You don't always get that understanding kind of situation where you can communicate and express yourself. So I feel like a lot of it. Yeah. Like whenever you're looking
spot on.
Well, I'm very analytical and I like to psychoanalyze every bit of a situation, which is also probably why I think too much into certain things. But ultimately, I feel like we're healers because we wish we had someone to aid our healing at some point in our life, whether it be early childhood or later in life. We just kind of needed that help and we didn't have it. And now we're like, I'm going to be the fucking help. I'm going to help these people. And of course, they have to be compatible for you to help them because obviously we were talking about different providers having different assets. And you have to find someone compatible with you. But overall, we do this because there was a point in our life where we felt like we didn't have the help we needed.
That's pretty accurate. That's very spot on.
All right. So let's talk about your support system next. First of all, I want to let you guys know that this amazing person is engaged, and I'm pretty excited to hear about it if she's willing to give us some details. So I want to know about your family support system. Is this something that you openly share with people, or is it something that you kind of keep closed? Does your family, your friends in the vanilla world know about it? And if you could give us some details on this amazing relationship that I've been hearing so much about.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm fairly private with my life, but with the people that are really close to me, I'm so open about
Right.
it. I want to bring them on vacations every single time that I go. It's work for me, but vacation for them, right?
Right.
So, what could be a better setup?
Right.
I love to share that. I love to share that, and I love to open the kinky world up to people around me because people don't understand that this shit is normal. This shit is normal. And on top of that, kind of a little side note, a lot of kinks are, I don't want to say hereditary, but a lot of kinks get passed down. You wouldn't know that, but if you have a foot fetish, your daddy probably has a foot fetish too.
Yeah, or your grandpa or someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else like feet, and good luck to you.
Yeah.
So I'm not very open about it with my family. I am with some of them, but not with everybody. With the people that I'm not open about it with, I don't have a great relationship with, so I just don't feel the need to do that.
Right.
I did grow up in a very religious household. Shocker. Where sex was very taboo. And I mean sex in any form. Even like sexual parts was very taboo. Like when it came down to shaving pubes, my mom was like, oh my God, let me go get my fucking Bible and start an exorcism. I'm like, I just want to be comfortable. So, yeah, very religious household. So it was taboo. Nobody really had the sex talk with me. So I grew up being very body curious and curious about other people's bodies. Like, what do you got going on? Because I don't know.
Right. I gotta see it for myself.
Right, just a natural born pervert. Which is great. Super fun twist on that. As for my partner, he's very, very, very supportive. He's extremely supportive. He's always my my go-to. I tell him everything. I show him videos. He's in on the shits. Okay.
Yes.
We're open with parts of his family. We're also open with all of his friends as well. Which is nice because they're also part of my support system and they're not weird. So it's nice to be able to be in healthy relationships with other men who are still respectful and they can appreciate still me for who I am as a person instead of just like seeing me as, oh, she's a sex worker. She does OnlyFans. Like,
yeah,
for sure. So definitely your support system. It means the world. I have a lot of friends that also do sex work, and that's amazing because they can relate to me on a level that my vanilla friends cannot. Like, I can't sit here and complain about submissives saying stupid shit or just like talking all the time or like whatever they're doing.
Or because people that like refuse to take a shower. Like I've had people show up and be like, I took a shower before I left. Okay, but I didn't see you take this shower.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta trust me. Nope. I don't trust.
No, I don't.
Not when it comes to that. I don't do. Nope. That's a safety thing.
Yeah. I don't. It just grosses me out. If you come to my session and you're not freshly bathed, the session will be canceled.
Yes.
It will. Unless I have a shower readily available for you, the session will be canceled because you smell like shit, or something.
You smell like something you're not supposed to smell like.
And you can't be afraid to say that either, because if I'm supposed to be sitting on your face, I do not want to have my ass cheeks break out because you didn't wash your fucking face.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Or if we're doing some kind of medical play, say if I'm going to stick needles in you and you have days old bacteria on your skin, I'm going to be responsible for your infection.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Yeah. I'm not footing that medical bill, so just be clean. Just be clean.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. I feel like it's part of RAC and SCC. It's really it's a safety hazard. It's a health thing.
Yes. And it's okay to not understand these things. It's okay for it to not like come to you naturally. If it's something that you don't understand, if you're scared to ask a person, you can Google it. What is this? Why do you have to do this? Why is this important? Like, it's okay to not know. Don't be ashamed of asking questions and just not know this information, and then you be unsafe or someone else be unsafe, and then you not have the information you need, and then the relationship just completely die because you're scared to ask questions. Like, don't ever be scared to ask
Right.
those questions. Like, that's
Right.
craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's loop back around for just a moment. I know you said that you had a religious childhood. So back in that, did you have any kind of mental, physical, sexual abuse in your childhood or in your teenage years, or any kind of filler in between?
Oh yeah, definitely. um, yes to all of the above, but not specifically in relation to religion or being in the church or anything.
Okay.
There's definitely been a lot of mental abuse, and verbal and physical abuse growing up.
Right.
More or less like sexual traumas and stuff came as I
Mm.
got a little bit older, thank God.
Right.
And that I would definitely say that had to do with my placement in sex work. Oddly enough, because it has to do with sex. All of this stuff, it has to do with sex, and
Right.
a lot of people like can derive like kinks and etc. from past traumatic issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of being able to lean into the psychology of that and learn about it too had something to do with my placement in sex work as well. But
Yes.
yeah, there was some shit going on for sure.
Right. So I have found there's a very small percentage that never had any kind of sexual abuse, physical abuse, whatever that entailed completely, into their past. It's like a very small portion, but the majority of us have had some kind of traumas that kind of led us to finding ourselves, finding the power within us, and letting that shine through. Now, not everyone has that experience, but I found that the majority of us kind of end up where we are because we're trying to build ourselves, and part of that is taking back what was taken from us. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I've always said one of my biggest motivations for being a female dominant and being a professional one is having the opportunity to take my power back as a woman and to be in control of every situation that I'm in with a man, where I don't have to second guess what's going on and I don't have to second guess where your hands are going, or like I don't like when people stand behind me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I do in protocol is you will never stand behind me.
Right.
You're not going to. And if you are, you're going to tell me. You're going to give me a warning. You're going to tap me on my shoulder or something.
Right.
Right. So, definitely taking back my power as a woman has been my biggest motivation for empowering other women that are in this as well. Not even just women. We have men, women, MBs, everybody.
Yes.
Everybody has been through something. So, yeah, definitely taking my power back has to do a lot with why I enjoy domination.
Mm-hmm.
Because even still in like regular vanilla social interactions, I look at men and I'm just like, dude, like I just know if the roles were reversed right now, you'd be getting fucked up. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
It's a beautiful
it's
thing.
changed my it's definitely changed my perspective, and also like a massive rewarding part of my socializing with men now is I feel more confident in saying some off the wall shit. Like I
Yes.
feel a lot more confident to not nervous laugh and just be like, oh, you're so funny. Cause now I'm like, if you said something slick under your breath, I'm gonna say it louder and repeat it back to you and make you uncomfortable. And I'm gonna let
Right.
everybody else know that you just said
Yeah.
some like, I don't know, for example, they're like, why is that ass so fat? I'd be like, you said, why is my ass so fat? Really? Yeah, because now I'm gonna embarrass you. Whereas before,
Mm-hmm.
I would not have said that. I just be like,
Let it slide.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So funny. No, we're not doing that anymore. So yeah.
I love it. And I love how it can become something that we take that is something that starts as trauma and ends up being the power we use to power our life. Like it literally gives us the control, the power, the finding ways to love ourselves that we never had before, like a productive side of sex work. People don't realize how empowering it is. Do you feel like it makes you feel empowered?
I do. I do feel empowered doing what I'm doing now versus what I was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I was stripping, I did not feel empowered. I felt disgusting.
Right.
I hated everything. I was not happy. I did not like anything in life. Hated going to the club, hated myself, hated looking at myself, hated the clothes I was wearing, hated talking to people, hated counting my money, hated having to wash it, everything. Hated
Mm-hmm.
it. But now that there was this alternative where I was in control, it
Mm-hmm.
was very empowering. And it helped me realize that I am at, if not above, the same level as these men, which in work, I'm above you.
Right.
And
Right.
that's definitely tinkered with my normal just outlook on life. And like I said, like my interactions and stuff. So now I do feel empowered. Even just with small things, like off the top of my head, when you're walking around and I don't know, say like a man is checking you out and he wants to do the old stare down, I'd be staring back. I'd be staring
Yes.
back because now we're both gonna be uncomfortable.
Right. Oh man, I gotta tell you a
you know?
story. I have to tell
Yeah.
you a story. So I I'm Polly. My primary partner. I was out with them doing some shopping, and there was a guy that was like hardcore staring at me. And being myself, I always carry business cards with me, right? So I have my business cards, and this guy is just like oogling. And I turn to him and I'm like, I sell pictures. I have websites if you would like to book. And it was the first outing that my primary partner had been on with me. So they were like, um, and they were like, oh, so this is normal. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, if somebody's going to stare for too long, I'm going to offer to sell them pictures. I'm going to offer to sell them something because obviously they like what they're looking at. So why not?
Right.
So,
May as well. You may as well.
yeah. So my primary was like, okay, I don't think the next experience will be so bad because they like flushed. They're like, people actually do this. Yeah, people like me actually do this. Like, this is my job. Like,
Yep.
so for those people that are new, don't be scared to own yourself. Don't be scared to be like, I'm confident, I love myself, and you should too. And if you don't, well, fuck you, you're missing out. But overall, unless you sell yourself, you're not going to do good in sex work.
That is true. That is true. You have to believe in yourself as much as you believe in the next person, right? Because something, so let me put this out there because nobody explained this to me for a very long time. Sex work and a lot of, let me just hold on. Let me choose my words very carefully.
Okay.
A lot of things that you see as a result from sex work are a facade. A lot of things are smoke and mirrors,
Mhm.
especially when you're working and doing things on Twitter like Findom. A lot of stuff is smoke and mirrors, and people don't
Mhm.
tell you that. So don't sit here and compare yourself and be like, well, I'm tweeting as much as they are. Why am I not making the same
Right.
money? Why am I not pulling in $30,000 a month? A lot of things are smoke and
Mhm.
mirrors. Okay.
Right.
As well as you need to branch out and do more. I don't want to say, I'm not saying work harder. I'm saying you need to have a backup plan because you cannot
Mhm.
just have, you can't make the same money as you were making at your 9 to 5 on Twitter. Some
Right.
people do, but it's very rare and you need to branch out a little bit. So definitely just rationalize with yourself and don't compare yourself, because you're just going to ruin your own business. You know what I mean? You have to
Yes.
believe in yourself as much as you believe in the next person, is pretty
And
much what it is.
find something that you're actually interested in so you're looking forward to doing it. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's all kinds of things out there like femdom, findom. There's all different kinds of kinks, fetishes. Like there's literally this huge world. Don't look at somebody else and be like, oh well, they make lots of money selling foot stuff, so I want to do that too because I want to make lots of money. Find something that you're truly interested in. Like
Right.
you like how vinyl looks, or you like how latex looks, you like how it feels. So use that to your advantage. Make that kind of content, because whenever you glow because you're making something, it's going to make people want it. If you're there and you kind of look like you don't want to be there, less people are going to want it. Is that your experience?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. You have to find your niche, and you have to find your niche, and hopefully it's something that you enjoy so that you can incorporate that into
Mm-hmm.
your brand. So then whenever someone's looking for it, like for example, I was bringing up Monarch Blix. Blix
Mm-hmm.
is amazing, and they specialize in hypno.
Mm-hmm.
That's their niche. So anytime somebody's looking for hypno, that's the first person on a lot of people's lists, right?
Right.
That's what you want to do. Now, if you want a clip artist, you can go see Queen V, right? Now, if you want to have your balls kicked, you can come and see me.
Right.
If you want, you know. Um, so yeah, definitely find your niche and stick to it and really, really dig into that. And you can get super creative and do things that other people aren't doing inside of that niche as well. So I agree.
Yes. So essentially, you're finding part of yourself to bring out in work so that you're more confident, because your confidence ultimately is what sells in sex. Like, let's be real, that's what sells in
It
sex.
is.
So find part of yourself that you can just kind of relay and sell, because that's how you're going to be most successful.
Right.
And there's always going to be somebody out there wanting to buy something from you. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter how tall you are, how long your hair is, how short your hair is, it doesn't matter if you have hair at all. There's somebody out there that wants what you provide, but they don't know you provide it until you introduce it to them. So
Right.
take that step, give that to yourself. My next question is, how has sex work helped you grow as a person?
Sex work has helped me grow so much. It's crazy. um, it's crazy because sex work has definitely made me who I was. I've always been very blunt and very straightforward, but
Mm-hmm.
sex work helped me kind of turn that into a more productive
Right.
tool that I could use consistently, where in regards of boundaries and establishing, setting, and maintaining boundaries was
Mm-hmm.
huge for me before, especially even when I was stripping. It was hard for me to maintain boundaries
Right.
and such, because I can be blunt or very straightforward. People are still going to step on your toes.
Oh,
But
yes.
now to be able to do that in a professional way, in like a respected way, that's helped me a lot. It's helped me with my confidence level too,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Um, what else? But yeah, communication, confidence, and I guess kind of just like seeing life in a completely different perspective.
Okay.
It's, I don't even really know how to explain that. I guess that's one of those, if you know, you know. Um, but life kind of, it alters, it
Right.
changes, and it's like everything around you, you don't see the same anymore. I feel like for myself, in a way, I kind of see things for what they really are under the scenes, on top of just like this other just crazy shit.
Right. Right.
Especially being in fetish, I'm like, did you know they have the little the necklaces that have the circles on it for women, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
submissive necklace. I see that sometimes. I'm like, oh, she a freak.
Yeah. Yeah.
um but yeah, that's what I would say. Definitely, I'm huge on confidence, because I mean, before sex work, like as an adolescent, I was still fairly confident, but it was different to be somebody's fantasy.
Right.
and to be somebody's literal dream girl. And I was just like, oh, bitch, I have the power.
Right?
I got the juice. Like,
You can't tell me shit.
right. And kind of just that, and like my pre-session and my post-session rituals too. Um, that's definitely helped with the confidence aspect of that as well.
Right. Yes. Okay. So talking about that, whenever it comes to like your safety measures, I know you have a screening process. Can you give us a little bit more information about the safety measures you take and your screening processes? Like, how do you do elimination?
Yes, let's go through it. Let's do it. Okay, so for my screening process, you have to go through something that's fairly elaborate, right?
Mhm.
I need you to not only tell me what you want and what you're looking for, I want you to go into detail about it. First of all,
Yes.
I do this for a couple different reasons, okay? I do it one as an intimidation tactic and to also kind of begin the humiliation where you have to verbally tell me what you want and what you're looking for.
Right.
I like that you have to sit here and put that into words because not a lot of people have done that. It kind
Mhm.
of begins the dynamic. It's fun
Right.
for me.
Right. Right.
I like to watch you uncomfortable, but I want you to also feel safe
Delicious.
being uncomfortable with me because then we can get into deeper levels of humiliation that I don't really see a lot.
Right.
So I enjoy that. So you need to tell me exactly what you want. And I'm not talking about foot fetish, face sitting, wedgies. That's
Right.
not what I'm talking about. I want you to
Right.
tell me I want to suck on your fucking feet until I'm crying. I want you to gag me out with your feet.
Right.
I want to not be able to breathe and I want you to sit on my face until I'm convulsing. Like, I want it
Yes.
to be detailed because then I can plan and assess better. And if you say something that's completely off the wall, like, I'm going to bring you my second phone with all of my private information in it, and I want you to use that to blackmail me with in real life, and then go to my job and send them this information, these pictures, blah, blah, blah. I can't do that. I'm
Right.
not going to do that. We can
Right.
do like fun things, but we're not going to go that deep.
Right.
So it's more or less just the initial screening process of what I am and am not willing to do, and if I can or can't provide that for you.
Right.
So we do that. Of course, they send initial tribute because my time is money, and I could be
Mhm.
doing other shit besides talking to you.
Right.
So what do you want along with initial tribute? And then if I feel intrigued by your session, I will send you to go to my application.
Mhm.
Now on the application, it's very thorough. There's a million different questions, and I'm asking you a bunch of annoying shit on purpose.
Right. Right.
I need to know, I need to know as detailed as possible what you want so that I can provide and fulfill this fantasy as the best way that I possibly can. So I'm
Mhm.
asking you a little bit about your vanilla life because I need to know, because when I do background check, your shit needs to check out. So I
Right.
ask, what do you do for work? You don't have to tell me the company. How old are you? What's your first and last name? That's it. Now, when I check your ID and I run your background, all of this better check out.
Right.
Otherwise, we're having red flags and your application is going to be denied.
Yes.
So
Safety
we do that.
measures.
Yes. So I use a website. I use a couple different websites. I kind of bounce back and forth to do background checks. You
Mhm.
enter their information in. You can search public records if you want to go deep into it. You can. I don't recommend this, but you can just look on Facebook for people. But like I said, I don't recommend that. Please do a background check
Right.
because people aren't going to put on there that they have a gruesome domestic violence charge
Yeah.
on their fucking Facebook.
Right. Right. 100%.
um, Right. So background checks. But yeah, going through the application, I ask things like select all of your kinks. What is your biggest fantasy? Who have you seen? You need to have references. If you don't have references and you didn't tell me this is your first time having a session, we will not be sessioning because you should have told me that.
Right.
I don't like that at all. And I don't train new submissives.
Right.
If I took on a new sub, we've been working together for a very long time and he's prepared for what he's getting himself into.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
So what else do I ask? I ask them, what are you looking to gain from subspace? This is important to me because it tells me how I'm going to dominate. If
Mm-hmm.
you're looking to gain humiliation and you're looking to gain kind of just to be like demasculated and dehumanized, right? You want to feel helpless. You want to feel, or you want to feel hypnotized, or you want to feel, you know, whatever. You want to feel small
Right.
type of shit. That helps me because now I know you want to be dehumanized. It's more than just being degraded. You want to
Mm-hmm.
feel like a piece of shit.
Right.
Now I
Yes.
can do that. You want to feel hypnotized? Now I can do that. We're going to go into like severe body worship or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is I'm going to do. Um, so I ask those things. I ask what else? All kinds of shit. I ask them all kinds of shit. So then we get to the end of it. They send their ID. They send their
Mm-hmm.
portion of a deposit, which the deposit is not refundable unless I completely deny you access of having a session, or in the case of me canceling. But if
Right.
you show up late, if you cancel, if you disappear, I recently just had that happen when I was on tour. It was really fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you change your mind, you are not getting your deposit back. This
Right.
is a contract that you are signing when you are filling out my application. That's what it is. I make that very clear.
Yes.
Um, because you're not gonna waste my time. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
So do that. Then I go through with the background check, and it's about a 48-hour waiting period. I usually say if you hear nothing, no news is good news. News is probably not good. If you have a
Right.
little something that I'm not actually able to pull details up of, I need you to tell me what's going on and or provide paperwork or do something.
Right.
Because I won't be in a position to put myself in where somebody's violent against women and femmes. Or
Yes.
but if it's something like petty theft, I don't fucking care.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. Criminal speeding ticket, fuck it. You drive
Right.
fast, you're gonna get to the session on time. That's fine.
Right.
Like, and I'm not worried about you stealing from me. I usually keep all my shit in either a locked up place or somewhere that I can keep an eye on throughout the entirety of the session. So
Mm-hmm.
that's that's what it is. Typically in the case of me denying somebody a session, it's because I cannot provide what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they've crossed boundaries. There's something came up on their background check, or they showed up to the session and they were not hygienic. They were not
Mm-hmm.
up to par on hygiene, meaning a fresh shower, and you need to brush your fucking teeth.
Yes. Yes.
But typically, or if you're a new submissive, I deny a lot of sessions because they're new. I just don't. I've taken a lot of time to perfect and to educate myself. I don't think it's fair of you to ask me to give you everything in an hour and we've had
Right.
no preparation to do so. It's not
Right.
fair to me and I'm not prepared for that. I also don't really have a lot of patience for new submissives
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think we should spend our first hour together going over protocol and
Right.
teaching you how to do things and explaining to you what degradation means, like, or what a safe
Yeah.
word is.
Side note to anyone listening to the podcast that don't know what things are, let's revisit. If you don't know what something is, Google it. Inform yourself before approaching someone, especially a pro dom. Like, it's not just something we do as a hobby on the side. Yeah, we may enjoy it, but at the end of the day, it's a job. We get paid. If we're not getting paid, we're not there for a reason. Like, our time isn't free. So you don't need to take time away. Now, if you're paying for an entire hour of being told, this is what this is what that is, cool, whatever, we're getting paid to kind of educate you, but don't expect that education within the time frame that you've purchased, because that takes away time from us and our patients. Don't you feel that way?
Right. Right.
Like,
Definitely. It's just because, yeah, like I cannot sit here and if you ask me for a face sitting session, I cannot sit here and explain to you why I'm tying your hands up. I mean, okay, realistically, I can and I will as a safety. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, this is what's happening now. But I'm not going to explain that to you. Or if we're doing face sitting, I don't feel like I should have to consistently tell you to stop fucking touching me.
Right.
Because now you're crossing boundaries and now it's considered assault. and I'm gonna
Yes.
fuck you up because you keep
Yes.
fucking pissing me off and you keep touching me
Right.
and I told you not to. Right.
Yes. I find
Um,
that to happen a lot with face sitting sessions. People that try to like weasel around to get more out of the situation. Like, let me slide the panties to the side, or let me move this so I can get access to, a part of their body. Like, that is a no-no. You don't do that.
right. For the most part, when I do face sitting sessions, I typically have a tool in my hand and I will tell them that I have a tool in my hand.
Same.
So like, so I'm like, if you, okay, so this is my whole spiel. I put this on my application. We go over this after the session is booked. And when they arrive to the session, this is what I say. You do not have consent or permission to touch me anywhere without my previous permission. If you touch me anywhere and I did not tell you that you could, I will consider it as assault and I am legally obligated to defend myself in a manner that I see fit, right? Which would
Right.
be equal or greater force. If you touch me at any time, I don't care if you're grabbing my arm, if you're moving my hand, I don't care if you touch my hair. If you touch me at any time, I'm going to fuck you up.
Right.
And that's just what's going to happen.
Yes. Yes.
So and usually they're like, okay, I'm not gonna fuck with you. Like, I already know what you're about, type of shit.
Yeah.
So when I go on top of somebody, because I'm gonna go sit on their face, I typically have a tool and I will tell them, like, I have this wooden fucking 2x4 paddle in my hand or whatever. So if I ask you more than twice to stop touching me and you don't listen, I'm going to fuck you up.
Right.
Do you value your balls?
Right.
Do you value your life? Let's not fuck around here.
Right. Yes.
So
I
yes,
literally do
that's
the
a
same
little.
thing, so I understand. I think that's
I mean,
something
it's
we kind of pick
unfortunate.
up.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate, but it's something that you do have to pick up on. And
Mhm.
if that's what makes you feel safe in the session, then do that. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to have a fucking wooden 2x4 paddle,
Mhm.
but if it
Wooden spoon
makes you feel
suffices.
safe and you're in a room with somebody, do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Because now you're going to be suffocated and beat the fuck up. And look
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah.
We
That was
didn't
all
have
on
to do
you.
this.
You This could have went a completely different
Yeah,
way. Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
But
so
yeah,
my
that's a
next
little bit.
question, let's talk about more kink related things. So, how do you feel about the more abnormal kinks? Do you have any abnormal kinks of your own? And do you have any hard limits?
Okay, so my hard limits are always going to be the same. I'm not adjusting or changing my hard limits at any point in time. I've finally
Right.
gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with everything. There's a soft limit I have is wrestling. In Philadelphia, I actually had like a wrestling session because we were at a dungeon where they offered a room that had padding. Like
Okay.
the entire room was padded. So I was like, fuck it, we're gonna go play.
Right.
But typically that's a hard limit for me.
Mhm.
In any other situation, that's a hard limit for me. So that's why I kind of moved it over to soft.
Right.
Because I don't like the idea of potentially being in a position that leaves me vulnerable for somebody to overpower me.
Yes.
It's too much. I'm 5'2". I'm fucking small. Like most men are at least 5'5", you know? So they got a couple inches off the top for me, but I don't, it's no.
Right.
And if you
Right.
like wrestling, you probably know what you're fucking doing. So I'm
Right.
not gonna do
Yes.
But other than that, another soft limit is blood as well, because I am looking into changing my avenue and starting
Okay.
to specialize in medical play, because not a lot of people offer that, and I just love it. I love it. I want to know everything about it. So blood for the time being, I don't want that on my tools or anything that's not in place of that. If it's not necessary, we're not going to do that.
Right.
As for my hard limits is cunnilingus, penetration, oral sex, breastfeeding. Soft limit would be nudity from me. Sometimes I'll pop a titty out if I'm like,
right, right.
I'm feeling like rewarding them for just like super fucking random. Of course, never when they ask for it. So please don't ask me for that. It's not gonna happen.
Right. You might get the 2x4.
Right, 2x4. What else? Sounding was my soft limit for a while. It was actually a hard limit for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm venturing into medical
More
play,
medical.
that's gonna go onto my soft limit until I know what I'm doing.
Right.
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 So after I learn how to do that and how to play with needles and how to do all kinds of stuff, that's gonna stay
Mm-hmm.
on my soft limit.
Right.
I
Right.
also don't want to watch somebody stick like a pencil into their urethra.
Yeah.
Um, that's not safe
Yeah.
or smart.
Yeah.
So please don't ask me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Like there are so many things that could go wrong with that. Don't ever do that. They
Right.
literally have these little toolboxes that you can get on Amazon if you want to learn how to properly. Like I know because again, extensive research, but you can get even like sounding tools that just have a couple of implements in it. You can get it on Amazon and you can take
Mhm.
that and slowly learn on your own with yourself. Like, if you want to sit there and stick it in your fucking, you can do that yourself, but you can do it in a safe environment, not using
Right.
pencils or something that doesn't need to be in your fucking dick. Like, no.
Or glass. I see sometimes people are using glass stirring sticks, and that's, I feel
Yeah.
like it's obvious that that's not okay.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes common sense is not common. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But as for weird kinks, or not weird, but like out of the normal, I don't have any
Mm-hmm.
out of the normal kinks, but
Mm-hmm.
I do practice quite a few. I do a lot of scat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do a lot of scat. I actually really, really love my scat subs. They're by far the most respectful,
Mm-hmm.
the least hassle. They're
Yes.
just like, they appreciate and love natural beauty. They love when I'm not all done up. They like when my hair is all fucked off and
Right.
you know. And
Yeah.
I
Right.
send them videos and I have a fucking scarf on my head. They're like, yeah, that was it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, that's probably one of the more out of the box ones that I'm working with. To me, it seems very normal, but to a lot of
Right.
people,
Oh,
that's
yes.
extreme taboo.
Oh, yes.
Um, there's that. I work with Feedy from time and time again. I have somebody who, he's one of my favorites, and he loves Feedy, and he loves impact play. Like he
Mm-hmm.
loves intense impact play. He'll let me turn his skin black and purple, and it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's always delicious.
But yeah, Feedy is interesting. I don't necessarily fully understand the psychology of Feedy. I just know that it's fun. I've
Right.
been looking for years to find somebody who can effectively explain to me the psychology behind Feedy, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of been hit or miss.
Right. Right. I think it's a lot to
Yeah.
do with perception. Like different people are going to have different perceptions. It doesn't matter if you're talking to an amateur or if you're talking to someone that, has some kind of degree. It is literally a medical opinion. So it's like an educated opinion. So
Mhm.
it's kind of hit or miss for that reason, you know, just all
Yeah.
kinds of different
Yeah.
perceptions.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I've heard a couple different things. Like they like the textures,
Mhm.
they like feeling disgusting, they like how it feels on their skin, they like the
Right.
hot and cold contrast, like whatever.
Right.
So interesting, definitely interesting answers. But what else aside from that? Oh my god, actually, I was supposed to have a session on tour. This is
Mm-hmm.
some crazy shit. I was
Okay.
supposed to have a session on tour, and this gentleman, if he happens to watch, hi, how are you? um, and he enjoys being in a fat suit, and he likes
Mm-hmm.
his dominants to also be in fat suits, and he enjoys the feedy as well. But his idea for a session was that he wanted to be forced into the fat suit,
Mm-hmm.
and then us, myself and another dominatrix, also in the fat suits, and him bonded to a chair and force fed on live.
Mm.
And then while he was bonded to the chair, he wanted myself and the other dom to like play and like to fucking wrestle and like chest
Mm-hmm.
bump and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was something completely out of the box. But for a
Right.
lot of dominatrix, that's like a dream session. We want to do the
Yeah.
crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? We want to have
Yeah.
fun. We want to go play. We want to get
Mm-hmm.
paid for it. And
Right.
you love it. I love it. Let's do it.
Right.
So that was one that was really, really out of the box for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was probably, I would say that was probably one of the crazier inquiries that I've had.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, that would have to be a very small percentage too, because I don't think I have to this day encountered someone that had that specific desire. Like, you meet people all the time that have like these kind of out of the box things, like this guy that liked cheese. Like, I had to eat Kraft cheese. The singles, they wanted to hear the paper unravel, they wanted me to put it in my mouth without bending it. Like you hear that kind of shit, but you kind of see it maybe like 5 or 6 times throughout your entire career. Well,
Yeah.
that situation I haven't heard at all. Like, this is the first time I've ever heard that. So that's like,
That's some like, being a sex worker is so fun. It's so
mhm,
fun. If you can find the joy in it and really just like enjoy the crazy fantasies and shit, it's so much fun. Being online, I've seen a lot more out of the
mhm.
box things.
Yes.
Like I know what was just talking about Queen V, she had this video that she ended up making where the submissive wanted to be scolded and threatened to have their mouth rinsed out with soap.
Mhm.
And so she did that video and it popped off. Like a lot of people really liked the video and it amazed
Mhm.
both of us. We were like, holy shit.
Right, right.
um yeah, just crazy stuff. I remember when I was doing just like vanilla OnlyFans and stuff, I first started dancing and I kept getting like fart inquiries and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, you guys want
Yeah.
to listen to me fart?
Yeah.
Like that's so crazy. So I just collected videos and videos and videos and videos over years and years and years. I ended up putting it out when I was a dominatrix after I understood like, okay, this is normal.
Right.
um, and that video to this day is my best-selling video on I
Mhm.
Want Clips.
Yeah, yeah. It is crazy how big it is. I did not realize until I got into it how big that is. Like, 1 out of 5 people that contact you are going to ask, can you can you just like pass your amazing gas on my face? And you're like, well, what do you mean? Like,
I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
how much you going to pay me? Because,
Right.
but then over time, after the initial shock, you're like, why do people like this? And then you start to think about, well, there's many reasons they could like it. And you see how normal it is. It's like foot fetish, like it's everywhere. Like, everybody has a foot fetish now. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still like, ooh, you like feet, you're weird. Like, foot fetish is mainstream.
Like a foot fetish is like the least you can
Yeah.
like. Like if you're kinky, I feel like you should like feet.
Yeah.
I feel like you should like feet
Yeah.
at a
Yeah.
minimum.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm
that's
I'm
so
right there
funny.
with you. I am right there with you. Um, Next, let's go back to your life work balance. How do you stay balanced? Like, how do you find time for yourself and give to yourself to keep you where you need to be, to keep the balance on both into the spectrum?
This is kind of like a really loaded question, and I'm going to give you a loaded answer.
Okay.
um, it's still difficult to this day,
Mhm.
especially now that I'm taking traveling a little bit more seriously, and I'm doing that more than often.
Right.
I think I've taken 8 trips this year, and it's been a fucking roller coaster.
Oh,
um,
yes. Oh, yes.
when I just did this recent tour, that was the hardest because I was gone for a month and it was from city to city to city to city to city to city.
Mm,
And having to take care of myself while also having to work and being out there to work
right.
was fucking difficult. we ended up taking a spa day and we went to this bathhouse and we spent our entire night there and it was
Mm-hmm.
just amazing. So if I had something like that local to me, that's what I would be doing
Oh
on a
yeah.
bougie
Right.
thing. But mainly what I do to kind of just like keep myself grounded and keep my feet on the ground is spending a lot of time at home. I
Mm-hmm.
spend so much time at home. I like to spend my time in my bed. I got a big,
Great.
nice bed.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just a lot of that, a lot of like nature, having to turn my phone off, going on hikes, walking my dog, um,
Mm-hmm.
seeing and spending time with family really, really helps ground me.
Right.
Because when you get into sex work, it's like you become this entirely different entity. So being able to go back and see family to kind of like remind you and help keep you sane, like these are where my roots are. This is
Oh
who I
yes.
really, you know, that helps and it's very humbling.
Right.
um, so definitely a lot of that. I play this stupid fucking game. It's called Apex.
Mm-hmm.
I love it with everything in my heart. It's so dumb.
Oh, what
I see.
platform?
Oh, I'm on a PS5.
Okay, okay. I love it.
Yeah. Yes, I love this stupid fucking game. I will literally spend hours on there. It's like going into your entirely own world and
Mm-hmm.
nothing matters. Nothing matters. You're
Yes.
looting and you're shooting people and it's just fucking great. So just like small hobbies like that. I used to be really artistic and I would paint a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've gotten into my new house, I'm gonna start picking that up again too. I really like to read as well. Reading is good. It's really good for your brain. Exercise your brain. Please do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
um, but yeah, essentially that I smoke a lot of weed. Listen, like, hear me out. It's
Mm-hmm.
medicine.
Right.
um,
100%. 100%.
I like to specifically smoke. It started by I would smoke and I wouldn't want to work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like, oh, I'm lazy, I don't want to work. It was more or less, I'm not going to work and be intoxicated.
Right. Yes.
So I would go smoke and it would force me to stay off of my phone to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of become the routine where you know, you're gonna roll up, we're gonna go outside, we're gonna smoke, we're
Right.
gonna chill. And then but I have to wait until I'm done and I'm not high anymore so that I
Right.
can continue with work. Right.
Yes.
And I found too that when I smoke, I can't seriously look somebody in the eyes and be like, "Yeah, you're a bitch."
Right.
I'm way too nice. I'm way too giddy. Can't do it. So that's a few of my hacks. That's kind of what I do.
Yes. Well, I love it. I love all of the self-care. Self-care is important. The finding the balance so that you don't get burnout and so that you continue to love what you do is extremely
Right.
important. So I have two more questions for you. One, do you have any regrets over the course of your career?
Regrets. Let's see. There's a couple things that I regret. They're more or less things that I regret not doing. Everything that I've done, I'm very, very, very grateful for. And
Right.
even though some things were mistakes, it needed to happen so that I could learn what I needed to. My biggest regret is not saving as much money as I needed to when I started.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started dancing in 2018, and that's when the money in the clubs were popping. It was
Mm.
popping. 2018, 2019, 2020 hit, and the money slowed down because of the
Yeah.
pandemic. And then the club population probably tripled.
Mm-hmm.
So the money was a little bit, not a little bit, it was a lot more scarce in that
Right.
sense. Because no, we've never been through a pandemic before. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I regret not saving as much money as I should have. And now that's kind of turned into a lesson. So I'm like a money hoarder.
Yes.
um, so definitely that on top of not saving money. And let me see. There's something else I had in mind, and now I just can't remember what it was. But yeah, definitely my biggest regret is just not saving money.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. That's probably, I have like three main pieces of advice that I could give to anybody that's starting in sex work. This is like the actual key.
Mm-hmm.
Save your money. You literally, I don't care if you just made $1 or if you made $5, you should be saving about 30% of every single tribute that you get,
Right.
because you have taxes at the end of the year and there's cold seasons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about winter, I'm talking about when the money is not there for anybody,
Right.
or when you're on a dry spell and you still need to pay bills, because
Yes.
you can do everything that you've been doing and it might not be working, but if you have money to fall back on, you don't have to stress, and you don't have to go back to a 9 to 5. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Also, if you're not in a place to save 30% of your earnings, your tributes and etc., you should probably venture out, and you should probably go get yourself a part-time,
Yeah.
because this money is not guaranteed, and the money that you made
Mm-hmm.
today doesn't mean you're going to make it tomorrow or next week or a month from now.
Right.
So
I think a
save
little bit of
money.
that goes to the smoke and mirrors too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the FinDom stuff you see people bragging, oh, I make this much today. I made this much yesterday. I made this much overall in a month. Well, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you that a lot of that is inflated numbers. So don't think that, oh, well, I'm going through this dry spell. It looks like everybody else is doing amazing. It doesn't mean that everybody else is doing amazing. Maybe they're doing that because they want to appeal to those kind of clients and they're trying to fish for more money. So just because you see the smoke and mirrors and you feel like, oh, well, I'm the only one going through a dry spell, it doesn't mean you are.
Yep. Yep. I can attest to that 1,000,000%. I can definitely, yeah, because we see it a lot, and it's becoming more and more of a thing where phenom is considered this. Sorry, this light is like
Oh, you're good.
all the
You're
way
good.
up in my face. Yeah. We see it more and more in phenom, which is a little unfortunate. Come on now, how's
Mm-hmm.
that? A little better.
Yes.
um. So yeah, don't believe the smoke and mirrors. But as for advice, save money. Be careful who you work with. You need to
Mm-hmm.
be very careful who you work with.
Right.
You need to do like extensive research on other people's brands and who they are as people if you can,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes people like to represent a set that they're not really a part of, you know?
Yes.
Um, a lot of people recently, we've seen a lot of people take the education route and kind of run with it, and I guess try to profit off of it, but almost like hopping on a wave where they're not really about that. You know,
Yes.
it's unfortunate, but it's like that. So just be careful, because when you work with somebody, you're co-signing onto their brand and their business, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that this is also me. I'm also this person,
Right.
kind of thing. So just be careful. And then the last piece, of course, continue to educate yourself. No matter what,
Yes.
always educate yourself.
Right. Because there's always growth.
Mm-hmm.
Always growth. We all have potential for growth, whether you're starting out or whether you're seasoned, whether you've been doing this for 20 years, there's always something that you can learn. And if you have a hunger for that knowledge, if you want to continue to grow, you will. But it's a matter of continuing to look for resources, continuing to network, to reach out to other individuals. And it's not just like DOMs in general. You can reach out and learn things from subs. Like you can literally just get their side on where does this come from? Where does this desire kind of start? How did it develop? What got you
Right.
into this? Like you can literally learn from everyone, but it's a matter of you taking the time to do that. But you have to want to be educated, right? Because we both have the
Mm-hmm.
curiosity for education. Not everybody's like that, but if you want to be successful in the industry, I highly encourage you to educate yourself continuously.
Sorry, they came to say hi. Hey, go on. Go, Dad. Go. Thanks. um, you would be surprised how much submissives actually know, because now we're in an interesting pattern where not only are they seeking education for themselves, but they're going out and they're finding answers to what they want. So
Yes.
I know in local scenes, submissives are usually the first to actually step out and create the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the dominants are a little bit more like standoffish. At least that's the trend that I've noticed for myself.
Right.
And subs are like, subs are there. They're involved. When you
Mm-hmm.
go to an event in real life, the first person to approach you is going to be a submissive. I can almost guarantee that.
Right. Yes,
um,
yes.
yeah, so definitely asking questions because you never know you don't know who knows what.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I completely agree.
yeah.
I completely agree. And I feel like dominants have trouble sometimes reaching out to subs because they're like, oh, well, I should already know that. That's not the case. You're not expected to know everything. And somebody that's gatekeeping that does expect you to know everything, they don't know everything. They just want you to think they
Mm-mm.
do.
Yep.
Don't believe
Yep.
it. Don't believe it.
Yeah. Definitely if and when somebody is looking for a mentor or someone to lean on, try to find somebody who's okay with being transparent about what they know and don't know,
Yes.
because you're in dangerous hands when somebody's like, I can teach you everything. I
Oh,
can
yes.
help you I can help you make $10,000 a month. At the end of this course, you're going to make 10 grand guaranteed. Why is that guaranteed? Because
Right?
I can promise you some people's business modules don't work for others. What
Yes.
works for me is not going to work for everybody. On top
Yes.
of, I have to change my business model at least 3 to 4 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I advertise, the way that I post, the things that I'm posting, I have to change that so many times throughout the year to keep up with what's going on in the sex work world,
Yes.
right? And especially
Adaptability.
right.
Yeah.
So it should be a little bit of a red flag when somebody's guaranteeing something that they can't guarantee,
Hmm. That
right?
reminds me of like whenever everybody started doing the OnlyFans thing and they were doing these, oh, you're guaranteed this many followers, you're guaranteed this much money. Like, that is not a real thing. That is literally them saying, oh, let me try to get money from these people that don't have knowledge. Like, that's literally what it was,
Mm-hmm.
because someone that's like seasoned like us were like, yeah, that's a lie. But someone that
I
doesn't have
know.
knowledge,
And
it
these
sounds so
poor
tasty.
babies.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
and these poor babies, it's disheartening. It's really
Yes.
disheartening to see because people are getting discouraged from being in sex work because of these false promises and things
Mhm.
that they're being told that cannot be upheld.
Yes.
And it is disheartening.
And they also compare themselves to other people, like these people that have these giant names that built their name for like 20 years, that has like 100,000 followers on OnlyFans. They're like, oh, well, these people make bank. That means I'm going to too. No, starting out, nobody has those kind of numbers because your name is what sells. If people don't know about you, then how's it going to sell? That's like a name brand. A name brand sells because of the name, not because of the
Mm-hmm.
actual item. And a lot of people don't know that.
That was a really great way to put that.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
more people just don't understand that overall you're making your products and everything that you are into a brand, kind of like you were talking about a moment ago with, oh, I support this brand, I support this person, their business, I support them, I'm a part of that. Well, if it is a brand and you are selling it, then the more eyes you get on you, the more attention you get, the better you're going to do ultimately. So somebody that's in the business 20 years is going to do much better than somebody that just started, you know? So comparing yourself to someone else just sets yourself up for failure. It's discouraging.
It does because you can't sit and look at people's numbers and be like, why am I not making the same money? Why am I
Yeah.
not doing the same? Why don't I have as many followers?
Yes.
Whatever it is that you're thinking, it's not realistic for you to do that because you are not that person. You are
Right.
you. You have to
Mhm.
find what works for you, right? Some
Yes.
people some people it works better for them to just do bare minimum, for them to
Mhm.
just post selfies, for them to just do that. But for some people, it works better if they drop 5 clips a week.
Right. Yes.
and they have to consistently drop 5 clips a week. Sometimes it works for people to just post their feet. I have ugly ass feet. I can't do that. I
Yeah.
cannot do that. But that works for somebody else, right? Now, if
Right.
I was to do
Yes.
the same things and post as many feet pics and target as much shit towards that, that doesn't mean it's gonna work for me, right?
Yes, 100%. I completely agree. So the last question that I'm going to kind of end with today, um whenever you were younger, you probably had some kind of aspirations. You had something that you were kind of aiming toward. If you could talk to your younger self, what kind of advice would you give them? How would you extend the future potential?
Um, if I could talk to my younger self, I would really just tell her to be kind to herself.
Mm-hmm.
Just be kind and just be
Right.
patient. Um, because life just inevitably throws a million different curveballs of shit that you would never expect.
Yes.
And not nothing, damn near nothing is your fault. Is what I would tell.
Yes.
That's what I would tell her, because I feel like for myself it was a lot of like doubt and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of almost like self-inflicted harm, where I would
Mm-hmm.
just be like so mean to myself
Right.
that I was like, you know what, like, I mean, unfortunately, I was in a situation where I needed to start stripping, or
Mm-hmm.
I was not gonna have somewhere to live. Right, I wasn't gonna be
Right.
able to work and like, or not feed myself and take care of shit.
Right.
So that was it. But it was, at the time, it was almost like I said, almost like self harming, where it was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I'm not gonna be anything but a stripper. I deserve
Right.
this. Like blah blah blah. You know.
Right. Yes.
And I had no idea it was going to blossom and turn into something like this, where it was like something that I'm proud of, and like proud of
Mm-hmm.
working for and
And
towards,
you
and like,
glow.
right. So
Yeah.
yeah, so just to be kind and be patient
Yeah.
is really all that it is. That's what I would tell myself.
Amazing advice. Amazing advice. And
Thank
I
you.
feel like the majority of people could take that advice and apply it to themselves, whether you're new or you're seasoned. Like in our line of work, it's one of those things where sometimes it's kind of hard to slow down and be like, is this really being good to myself? Am I giving myself the things that I need? That balance that we were talking about earlier, it's kind of hard to find. So I really like that you would give yourself that advice, because ultimately, I think we all need to take the time to do that. Like, love yourself.
Hmm.
Just motherfucking love yourself.
Yeah. That's always going to be my go-to thing. Oh my god. That's always going to be like my main thing to tell somebody, especially when they're going through it, is like,
Mhm.
just to be kind to yourself. Because
Yes.
if you are incapable of being kind to yourself and expressing gratitude and patience to your own self, you cannot do that for anybody else, and you cannot
Yeah.
expect someone to do that for you.
Yes.
So it's easy to sit there and be like, I'm dumb, I'm slow, I'm like, I cannot do
Mm-hmm.
this, I
Right.
should have done this better, like whatever. If you continue to talk to yourself and put yourself in a position to believe that you're not living to your full potential, you're not going to, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
even though you fucked up on something, even though you could have done something better, you don't have to sit there and be like, oh, I'm fucking stupid, I'm did this and that and blah blah blah. You
Right.
just be like, you know what, I understand that I could have done this better, so that next time I'm going to do this better. Or
Mm-hmm.
take yourself to do something to improve the situation in a way
Right.
that's going to be beneficial to you.
Right. And kind of looking at that, I see it as you teach other people how to care for, how to love you. So if you don't love yourself, what are you teaching people? Ultimately, you're teaching them that any action is acceptable, and you're not going to treat yourself as good as you should. In return, they're not going to treat you as good as you should. And you're just going to be in this endless cycle of things that you don't deserve, because you kind of get stuck there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, I agree. This has been amazing.
I I would
You
agree so much. I loved having you. Um,
were an absolute delight. Thank you so much for hosting this. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Guys, I do want to remind you before I let you go, thank you, one, for supporting the podcast because it's amazing. It can't happen without you. And our biggest goal for the podcast is education, awareness, and acceptance of the adult community. So that's our goal. That's what we want to do going forward. Also, you can follow this amazing delight on Twitter at AQUILAGIA. Remember, she has all kinds of links everywhere. There's going to be something that you're going to like. Like, don't even kid yourself. So,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. And thank you guys for coming to join us. We will see you in the next session. Thank you guys.